Hello everybody, it's Wyvern here with another bit of Total War campaign. Of course the patch has come out, so we are doing Wulfrik the Wanderer's campaign. Um, and yeah, there's been a bunch of changes. Of course we did get Norsca. We got Wintertooth, which spawns all the way out here in, around the Winter Pyre, which is controlled by Throg. And I decided to do Wulfrik because I found it more appealing to do a Marauder-based army than a monster-based army. But yeah, wanted to give it a shot. There have also been a bunch of balance changes for multiplayer. There's been a bunch of cost adjustments. There's been a bunch of Lord and unit and hero stat adjustments. Also a bunch of changes to skill trees. All of the original lords, or I think most of the original lords, have gotten new skill trees and new starting equipment, or new starting, sorry, not equipment, new starting buffs or benefits. So, Balthazar Gelt. Got a new skill tree. Of course, Kemmler got a new skill tree. Apparently, even Manfred got some improvements to his unit recruiting ability, or it's his unit skill starting level. So there have been a lot of buffs, a lot of rework done. Chaos has been buffed immensely, and I think made it a little too easy. They no longer take attrition from higher tier units. They now get income from Norsca, and they can actually control their Norscan allies because they're vassals rather than not military allies, which I think is a good improvement, because that was always a problem with the Norscan allies, that they'd be doing their own thing instead of, and they'd start warring with each other. So definitely some quality of life improvements there, but I do think, let's see, I'm going to get 2 more of these and 1 more Marauder, and then I'm going to strike out and see if I can take on these scalings. I definitely think it made the Chaos a little too easy, a little too forgiving. So we'll see how it ends up being. I could be wrong, but I definitely think there were very significant quality of life adjustments for Chaos. Let's see, is this guy their leader, Wolf Einerson? If he is, perhaps fight him, otherwise I can go fight Skilling. So, yeah. If I can reach them, and if I can go fight a Doomkeep soon, that would be good. That would be ideal. Quickly crush him. So Chaos had major buffs, but there were also some nerfs as well, I guess. Or Kolek has been made more ambush prone. Not that that really matters. Chaos is already very resilient against ambushes. Yeah, I'm gonna go fight these guys. 19 against. This should be pretty favorable to me. Yeah, looks like a fight worth taking. So, yeah, Norsca's already good, and they've been made even better. Or sorry, not Norsca. Chaos was already pretty good, and they've been made better, and definitely far more forgiving. There have been some other small changes. Azag's got major quality of life change with new unit roster, starting unit roster. The Fan Chanter's got major nerfs. She now has to be in melee for her Mist of the Lady to apply. And I think, her price has gone up for multiplayer, which is a major, I think, disadvantage. That's one of the changes I'm not particularly happy about. I definitely agree that a nerf was needed, but I don't think it should have been a nerf to cost on top of. I don't think cost should have been nerfed on top, or increased on top of the nerf to Mist of the Lady. And I do understand that Mist of the Lady was very powerful, but now it's not really anywhere near that powerful. So I'm not entirely sure why. It's still very expensive. Alright, let's see. Yeah, I guess that's it for my army. I guess that's it for deployment. Remember to set my traits to melee mode. My opponent has brought. Apparently, the skin wolves, and this surprised me a bit, are not large. So they don't take a penalty for going through forests. So I do believe it was on a Party Elite video. He was saying that these skin wolves are not large units, and that because when you scroll over the terrain, it tells you if there's a disadvantage for that terrain, and there's no penalty for them. As you can see, if I go over the terrain for the chariots, it shows that there's a very significant penalty for them, which is simply not the case for the skin wolves. So it could also be a case that they're large, but they're like the minotaurs or the beastmen units, but which don't take a penalty in what forest, even if they're large. I don't think the wood elves take penalties either, but I don't think that's the case. So definitely something interesting. I need to find their leader as soon as I can. Already you can see the berserkers going at it with my opponent's units. I'm going to try to get after the marauders with great weapons, with the javelins, go after the marauder spears. Wulfrik already engaging. Try to get a cast over here of unfortunately my wolves are not, I guess, charging. I don't know where my chariot is either. Oh, it's all the way out here. It's not moving. That's not good. Wulfrik should be winning the fight, but actually he's, because my opponent's lord is getting some support from his nearby. Well, this should actually be winnable. I think Wulfrik will just barely come out on top. Wulfrik has very high melee stats, so he should just barely pull through. And now I'm throwing javelins at the guy's back, so that should help. I'll be able to pull Wulfrik in there. My units are breaking, and of course I'm playing on very hard, so there's a penalty to my units' morale, and they break much more easily. Unfortunately, as you can see, I didn't put my javelineers to guard, and so now they're charging into the fray, which is not good. It does look like I lost my berserkers, which is unfortunate. The chariot, though, I'm hoping will run my opponent's units down. The skin wolves are actually very fragile. They fall apart rather easily. I do believe my opponent does have yeah, this is my opponent's leader unit. It's a chaos. It's a marauder champion, and those guys will definitely do a number on my units. However, this flank is clearing up, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to push through. Wulfrik is still holding fairly strong, so hopefully these things will work out. Chariots are still roaming around. Going to try to get in on the marauder hunters with them. I'm going to try to get Wulfrik back to his army. Force path through my opponents. Yeah, taking some heavy losses, but it should be okay. Definitely. The 56 to 50. The numbers are definitely in my favor. These guys are wavering. They should fall apart, and then my marauders can swing in from the flank. Our berserkers going against the marauders with great weapons. The chariots, though, are definitely taking a bit of a beating here. Definitely struggling a bit. Those guys are shattered, so these guys need to get into the fight. If I can get my javelineers back into the fight, I think I should be okay. If I can get some rear shots in on them. Unfortunately, my chariots did break. I'm not entirely sure where my skin wolves are. There they are. I'm going to try to get... I do have one more cast available for Seafang, which is, of course, Wulfrik's ability. I will try to cast it simply down the line here. I don't really have... I could try to maneuver into a better position. It does some damage, although it seems that I missed a bit. It's okay. Skin wolves over here tearing through these guys rather quickly. The enemy marauders are falling apart. They're broken, and I think they're just going to shatter at this point. gonna shove Wulfrik into the fray. Um, this is unfortunately, so you can see these are the Marauder champions. They're basically like a lot like Chaos Warriors. They're doing, of course, unsurprisingly, pretty well against very lightly armored units. But now I'm able to push in from the flanks. I think this should be a win. I'm not entirely sure where my chariots ran off to. I'm going to try to swing around. Unfortunately, I haven't really been on top of microing my units back into the fight. I'm going to try to charge my opponent's axe throwers, zone them off. And as you can see, my skin wolves are coming in from the flank. Skin wolves are very quick, and they have physical resistance, but they have practically no armor. They only have 15 armor. So against units with magic damage, I think that against, especially against units like, say, if I can break this unit of leaders infantry, then I think I should be okay. Though I'm not. It's not entirely working out. As you can see, screaming of blood for the blood god. So definitely getting that chaosy feel here. My opponent's army or the AI army is definitely wavering, falling apart. These guys are taking javelins to the back, and that's not doing anything good for their morale. And they should break fairly soon. And as you can see, they've already leveled. They've almost racked up 200 kills. So you can see those units are very, very strong. Wulfrik is almost dead. It's okay though. Chariots are still running around, being a major pain. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to force the shatter just yet, but I think it should happen fairly soon. There we go. There's the mass route. Obviously, these are very low-end squishy units, so it wasn't too surprising that it was a bit of a rough fight. Skin wolves might be a little bit better than, like, pound for pound. The two armies here were pretty evenly matched, and my opponent or the AI had slightly higher numbers, so it wasn't. So it all came down to micro, and I definitely botched some micro. I threw the berserkers in when I probably should early on into the marauders when I probably should have held them back and then pushed them in one after the normal marauders had already taken the main brunt of the fighting. As you can see, the berserkers can do very well against squishy infantry. Of course, skin wolves will do well. I didn't lose any chariots, which is definitely nice. And of course, we didn't get to see. Actually, we can see how well they leveled up. They got 174 kills, which is rather crazy. So I'm not gonna sack the place. Of course, I'm not gonna raise it because I want to control Norsca, not destroy it. So I'm gonna take a Doom Keep here. I'm gonna scrap the structure, and I should be able to now diplomatically confederate scaling. Okay, peace, and I do find it funny that he's threatening and posturing, and I get to just confederate him. So Longship Graveyard now, I can definitely build the first dash. So Norscan economy is very, very weak. I don't think I actually didn't lose any units. The berserkers just shattered, and they actually came back by the look of it. So that's definitely fortunate. And yeah, I'll definitely want to expand and try to dish out some more hurt to try to confederate more of the Norscans. Nordland's probably going to declare war on me. Unsurprising. I could try to get trade up, but I don't really want to give non-aggression pacts to my opponents to get trade going, or to the other Norscans. So I'm going to hold off on that for now. Going to get more income from another first dash and Doom Keep. As you can see, I'm not making much in the way of money, but I do need to replenish Wulfrik's army. And I think the Sarl encampment, yeah, the Sarl encampment seems to be the capital for Varg, so that's probably going to be the next phase of expansion. I'm broke, so I'm not going to be building anything. And one of the nice things is that if the other Norscans fight each other, and they defeat each other and confederate, and then you defeat them later, you'll of course get all that extra territory that they've already conquered as well. So you can potentially let the AI do a lot of the work for you. I got all the sorts of regiments of renown here. I do believe these two, the Great Mawherd, and I think these three are the unique regiments of renown that you get for quests, monstrons, and then this one is for the Hound God. So obviously you have the three gods. I'm not entirely sure how this works. You do get Lord of Change. So you basically get someone like Sarthorael if you max out the Zinj path or the Eagle path. You do Champion of the Hound, which is Khorne. You get the unique Hell Cannon battery, which is interesting. Extra unit experience per turn that's plus 100 is pretty crazy. That means your units would be very high veterancy. And extra weapon strength for melee infantry, which is mostly your infantry is Norsca, so definitely very strong. I'm not entirely sure what the sorcerer is. I'm a little tempted to do Slanesh, or Serpent, just to see what that sorcerer is, because he's one of the only ones I don't understand. At the same time, I also don't understand what the plague does. If I don't know if it's just major attrition, or if it's like attrition that can't be avoided, or I'm not entirely sure how it works. So, and Norsca's tech tree is a bit sparse. There isn't too much there. And it's fairly quick. It seems to research. It's fairly easy to research the tech fast. There's a bunch of monster. Basically, one of the trees is dedicated to monster upgrades, the fairly limited ones, and the monster hunt quests. The one on the left here is basically oriented at your normal Marauder units. And then down here is, as far as I can tell, mostly just generic campaign bonuses. Definitely some of these are interesting, though. You can get unique tech when you conquer certain settlements. Secrets of War and Coin is a bit interesting. You get it for occupied Miragliano rather than, say, a unique tech for defeating the Wood Elves. Or I guess the Wood Elves are the only faction with a normal base that are missing here. But it is interesting that they use Miragliano rather than, and the Southern Kingdoms, Tertilia, rather than a major faction for that tech. So Wulfrik's leveled back up. I need to find someone new to fight. So the Grayling, so yeah, you need to find new victims, basically. We got another unit of Marauder Berserkers, and I think I'm going to strike out from there. I could, of course, strike down towards south of Nordland and try to conquer them. Of course, you don't get any abundance of iron upkeep, minus 15% for all units. Go for upkeep because reductions. So I'm going to see if I can find. I'm going to move into my the AI's territory here and start raiding to make some money and hopefully find some units some armies to attack and force a confederation with. Unhappiness or control seems to be a bit of an issue for these guys. I'm not entirely sure if there's tech to reduce that. There's only one building that reduces it. It's fairly cheap. It doesn't help too much. It's only +2 at baseline. The Ruinous Altar, and the max is out at +5, and then +3 for the bonus there. So I'm looking to see if there's public order. There's not. There are a handful of public order bonuses here. You get +2. But that's it. So yeah, in tech you can only get +2. That's definitely not amazing. I'm trying to find the Graylings here because I want to confederate them if possible. But as you can see, I'm definitely taking a bit. So you can't get walls up as the Marauder, as the what are they called? Wow, can't even say. As the Norskans, you can't get walls, but you can get a very solid garrison building for the in your generic garrisons. Unfortunately, the garrison, so it's a bit like Wood Elves in that sense. But I think that unlike Wood Elves, these guys are not going to be that good on because the Wood Elves have very strong. Well, first of all, these guys' defensive structures just aren't that great. The garrison buildings, they don't give you the best of units. But second of all, you don't get any crazy upgrades on defense. You don't get like the Wood Elves can upgrade their melee defense for other units when they're defending. They can upgrade. They can get improved resilience. They have a lot of skirmish units, of course, all of which is very helpful. And the Norskans don't have anything like that, so their defensive abilities are probably going to be really limited. So you're gonna offense is definitely going to be the best defense here, unlike with Wood Elves, where you can be very campy, get away with it. I'm still trying to find the Unfortunately, I can't find them. I'm not entirely sure where the and apparently they still have force here. He's roaming around somewhere. I'm not able to find him, so but I definitely do want to find him just so I can confederate him. Shoot some tech, butcher's captives, just improve my marauders even further. Unfortunately, it does look like they're getting trashed pretty hard by the. It does look like I'll be taking attrition over there. Looks like I'll just. Well, I can't use. Well, I can't use March stance, I guess. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure where these guys are, and I don't want to like just declare war on them if I can avoid it. I could level up my income buildings. A little tempted to do that. I think I will. Then I might have to recruit an army just to defend Ice Drake Fjord because there's going to be a revolt probably, and I'm not sure I'll be able to get Wulfrik down there in time. And of course, the AI will be upgrading their forces a bit. They'll be getting better. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure where the where all my opponents are. Where the opponents are. And it does look like I actually might turn Wulfrik around and go fight him. Gonna get a new lord. Maimed arm is not particularly great. Charge bonus actually is bad. It looks like he doesn't even get a penalty for stupid. Normally there's some form of penalty, so I think I'll recruit this guy. And perhaps wait a turn for recruiting units. That said, if these guys get conquered by the Bjornlings, that would be ideal, because then I can strike back and Red Horn. Yeah, I'm not giving them. I'm not giving anybody non-aggression pacts. This is, I think, their leader actually.
It ends here. We'll spill your blood.
He is actually okay. This will be very easy. Quick pickup, declare war. And of course he's going to retreat, and I'll be able to run him down and get confederation here. Of course there's very little to confederate at this stage. They only control one territory, but
whichever woeful deity protects you, it ends here.
These guys are really not happy. So I didn't get much out of that, and there is this enemy force coming towards me. So I'm going to try to I do believe this is their leader, though. I believe Branson. This is him. So I'm going to try to force march back and engage him if possible. I want to fight him, confederate him, and get the full benefit, or all the benefits of controlling the Bjornlings. Because right now they control a very large amount of territory. They control the Monolith Catan, they control Grayling Moot, and they control practically everything. So over here, I'll be able to get a handful of new units. Nothing too good. I do believe your rebels are Chaos Rebels, so you'll want some armor piercing to deal with them. Serpent Jetty over here has a military building, which I simply don't want. I'm going to scrap that. I think I might retreat, of course, but I do plan to pursue them. I don't plan to simply let them. Actually, I missed what the event was. Useless contraptions. I do find that so funny. That's rather amusing description. So I'm going to have a revolt, so maybe it might not be best to building this up. It might be better to build this army up a bit more. I'm not entirely sure I'll be able to raise a large enough force to defend. As you can see, it's a Chaos army by the look of it. I don't know if they might attack immediately. That would be ideal. They do attack immediately, and it's actually not really well. This should be okay. I think I've got a solid chance. I'm doing this. You just have to actually fight the battle out. And the guy's a Chaos Sorcerer, which should make it pretty easy. It looks to be a Chaos Sorcerer, who are generally not the best units. They have a bunch of Chaos Warriors, which is definitely a problem, because I don't have much that can shut them down. I can engage them though head on and then try to pincer them. So the Chaos Trolls have to be prioritized, I think, because they should be an easier unit to rout off. Just having a Lord here though should give me a solid chance. I do have a I do have Marauders with great weapons, so that's definitely a bit of a win. Might have been better off recruiting. As you can see, actually, yeah, I got 3 units with throwing axes, so that should be decent enough. That should melt down the Chaos fairly quickly with their armor piercing, and then a unit of not Chaos Warriors, Marauder Champions, who I think melee attack 36 and 49 compared to Chaos Warriors 35 and 45. So they're actually, the Chaos Warriors are actually weaker in most ways than the Chaos Champions. And these guys are actually pretty light on their feet. 35 movement compared to Chaos Warriors 28. That's a pretty major difference in quality and mobility there. Not necessarily quality, but definitely in mobility. I don't think Chaos is Fury, so I should have. It is, unfortunately, it's a Lord of Death Sorcerer, so that is definitely a bit dangerous for my Lord. But I'll definitely want to be countercharging my opponent, because otherwise this is going to go very poorly. I think my Lord should be very solid though against these 60-40 compared to the Sorcerer's 48-44. So as you can see, my opponent is the AI is trying to flank me a bit. Definitely being a bit of a pain that way. So try to turn around and engage these horsemen with throwing axes. Throwing axes are obviously not ideally suited for engaging throwing axes, but I don't have much more of a choice, and they should do decent amounts of damage, and they are. As you can see, these guys are already losing a few models down to 40, and if I can just push them back, that would be ideal. And if I can win this skirmisher fight, I'm gonna try to zone these guys away so they stop harassing me. Yeah, that almost wiped out. Perfect. Spirit Leech is going down, which is completely wasted on Spearmen. We might kill like 1 or 2 models, but definitely not enough to make too significant of a difference. There's a bunch of posturing going on, and I don't actually recall the AI ever being this clever or attempting to be this clever. So that has definitely been interesting. I'm gonna push those guys forward. Unfortunately, another Spirit Leech going down, and I'm pushing straight forward. And I'm going to push the Marauders with the great weapons in. And my skirmishers are, for some reason, my skirmishers are really not dealing with this issue here. My spearmen over here, I'm going to try to get a pincer in. I don't get fear on them like the. I'm going to try to shut the trolls down because that's my best bet. And if I can assassinate their lord, that would be ideal. These horsemen are really being a painful. Bit of a painful unit to deal with. The trolls are breaking somewhat, but unfortunately I'm really struggling against the Chaos Warriors. The Chaos Warriors are very tanky, and they are tearing, not quickly, but they are tearing somewhat effectively through my units. Oh boy, and now there's Warhounds in my back. That's definitely not good. Hopefully my Lord can mop up their Lord, though. My Marauder Hunter should do a decent job here. As you can see, though, the AI is getting into my lines here. They're definitely doing a bit of a number on me with the Trolls. But the Trolls are getting beaten down pretty quickly and handily by the throwing axes. So, definitely a bit of a win there. And the enemy Lord is almost dead. So if I can pincer here. Spears are pursuing the Hounds. These guys are wavering. The Fear is definitely not doing well. Good for their... definitely not doing them any good. I'm hoping that my Lord here can finish off their Lord. That would be ideal. Still trying to finish off these Hounds, though. Definitely being a bit of a struggle. And unfortunately, as you can see, the Trolls are going after my Lord. So this definitely is a bit of a struggle. These guys are capable of coming back, hopefully. The throwing axes, if I can rally them somewhere to wipe out these Warhounds, that would be ideal. With the throwing axes going in, my Lord is definitely capable of taking on the Chaos Trolls, I think. And the Warhounds, unfortunately, they keep retreating and then they always come back, so definitely a bit of a pain. As you can see, the Trolls with their rear charges, the Trolls are very annoying. And I'm trying to zone these Marauders away. It's not so much that I'm worried about. The main reason I'm chasing after these Hounds so hard is because I'm trying to make sure that my Marauders successfully recover, but it doesn't look like they're recovering. They might fall apart here. And simply, if they don't come back, I'm in a lot of trouble. The Trolls, though, and the Trolls are coming back. See, this is the biggest problem with fighting on higher difficulties, is that even units that normally rout almost instantly, like Trolls, for example, with their atrocious leadership, will fight rather ferociously, or they would normally simply just collapse. Unfortunately, I do think my army is recovering. Unfortunately, I don't know why these throwing axes aren't recovering. They still have over half their models left. Normally that's enough to ensure that your army comes back. But it just seems looks like my army's shattering, and once again, I'm not entirely sure why that is. Because even on the higher difficulty, the setting, the morale shouldn't be that atrocious. There we go. They're retreated very far, and that's really not good, but hopefully I can get them back. I'm trying to pursue these Trolls, get some throwing axes onto them. If I can get my Lord here into the side of these Chaos Warriors, that would be great. The Halberds are gone. As you can see, some of my units, the Chaos Champions actually came back, which is definitely not bad. I'm definitely happy about that. I'm hoping to pursue these Trolls. Unfortunately, they do have regen, and they are going to get into my throwing axes, who waste too much time trying to get set up. That is definitely a bit of a problem with trying to zone away with skirmish units sometimes. And these guys are not running, so... But with these guys pincered, I think this should be winnable. The Trolls are definitely... I think the Trolls are actually losing. They're winning, I guess. But I think that once their charge bonus wears off, the throwing axes, because the Trolls don't have too much in the way of armor, the throwing axes should come out on top. As you can see, throwing axes are going in, and the Chaos Trolls are starting to... Because obviously they're a lot shorter than... Or my own throwing axes are a lot shorter than the Chaos Trolls. Everything's kind of in the balance right now, I suppose. Whether or not we can break the enemy. My army's breaking, and that is not good. I didn't think my army would break, and it's pitiful as Trolls. But the Trolls will hopefully break. Now the Chaos Warriors are closing in on my axe throwers, but definitely taking a decent amount of damage there. I still do have spearmen here that I can use to zone away these Chaos Warriors. And once my Lord recovers, the rest of my army should still come back. And as you can see, there comes the shatter. The axe throwers are still doing work. I'm going to try to mop up as much of my opponent's army as I can, or the AI's army as I can. A lot of my units fell apart there, but it's okay. Most of them are garrison units. Definitely a respectable performance. From the axe throwers shut down the. Yeah, this is definitely a respectable game. Obviously, very hard. The AI gets massive leadership bonuses, and that can make life very difficult. The Chaos Warriors, of course, did very well. We'll see how well the Chaos or the Marauder Champions did. Obviously, they were against tougher opposition than the Chaos Warriors, but should still be interesting to see. The Trolls, of course. The Wolves, the Warhounds actually tend to do fairly well against low-end infantry. They're not necessarily built for it, but definitely do a decent job of it. So we'll see. The throwing axes, fortunately, got chased off rather quickly. I could sacrifice the captives, which Simon isn't going to help. It's not going to replenish me too much, so I think I'm going to do the sacrifice captives there, and that should set me up to, on this turn, push out and deal with this army once and for all. I think. Got Root Marcher. I think I'll recruit the Icehorn Marauders and go defeat these guys. This should be an auto-resolve. Once again, get to sacrifice them. Be done with it. So, with that out of the way, we now have...
I'm told you want to talk.
Over here, unfortunately, the control is definitely a bit of a problem. You don't get commandments with the Norscans. I'm going to try to intercept this army because if I can, it would be ideal to improve my standing by taking all these provinces. I'm not entirely sure if you do get extra public order for leveling up your main town hall or your warband or your gathering, which levels all the way up into stronghold or whatever it is. There you go. I'm not sure what I called this town hall. Let's see. Money. Definitely need income. As you can see, losing income at the moment. And turn there. Now, I haven't raised anything yet, and I think I might have to start striking at the Nordland to try to raise things. Oh, I don't know what I took there. I took a destroyed plunder, I think. So that's unfortunate. I'm trying to intercept this Bjornling army and shut it down so that I can confederate them. The Varg don't like me, which is okay. I could strike towards Dietershaven, and I might start building this army up just for that. But first, I think I need a little more income. How you're going to control Norsca, I think, is going to be a bit of a. I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge to control Norsca, with their relative lack of control abilities. You don't get major upgrades for it, like say.
I will hear you. Let's find somewhere quiet to talk.
I should be able to just fight this battle. This is going to be a really straightforward win, I think. My opponent does have skin wolves, though. Should be a bit of an interesting fight. So I think I'm gonna. Well, I can just auto resolve it. Ugh, it's tempting. We'll fight the battle. This will probably be the last one for the initial playthrough video, and then we're gonna stop after this once we've united all of I guess the Von Heimelings. For some reason I thought it was the Bjornlings, mostly because they have the Bjornlings landing over there. I don't actually know if the Bjornlings now get their own faction all the way out in the east, past the Krakadrak dwarves. So I'm going to be deploying all of my marauders up at the front. Berserkers behind them, just to dish out some hurt. And Berserkers are fairly powerful, damage-wise, it seems. You just don't. They have a very strong charge bonus for infantry, very solid weapon strength. I'm going to put Wulfrik over here. Handful of skirmishers in the back. I don't have too many of them. I'm going to try to position in such a way that I don't have to worry about the skin wolves. The skin wolves are by far the biggest threat to my chariots, so I want to avoid those if at all possible. So we're gonna start battle that way. And of course, I'm putting the chariots on the melee stance. There's not their range isn't actually bad. So they have very limited ammunition. They only have 12 rounds a pop, which means that you only have 36 across. You're going to be doing very little range damage with these guys. But it does mean you can poke away at enemies a little bit. It's also a very fast chariot. It's like the Goblin Wolf chariot. Actually, might even be a little faster. Because I think the Goblin Wolf chariot only goes 92. Of course, Leif Erikson or Leif Gulbradson or whatever his name is over there. Gonna be pushing into him fairly soon. I don't want the skin wolves taking too much hurt if I can avoid it. Skin wolves don't actually perform that well against infantry, from what I've seen. They're quick, and they obviously have a massive bonus against large. So against large units, they'll do amazing. But they're basically a proto cavalry, I guess. But I would say cavalry's generally, yeah, cavalry's definitely most cavalry's definitely gonna do better against infantry. And I do have Wulfrik, so I should be simply able to just nuke down my opponent's front line with the help of his ship, the Sea Fang. So here we are, gonna start popping attack orders. Unfortunately, well, I don't think, considering that they're not large, it wouldn't really help if I had anti-large against the skin wolves. But I do wish I had some better units to take on them. I'm going to move the berserkers forward, but I'm not going to commit them just yet. Same with the skin wolves and the chariot. And of course, I'm trying to get Wulfrik the Wanderer into the fight. If I could get Wulfrik on like at an angle from the main engagement, so that he can fire off the Sea Fang in a strong sort of line linear attack, that would be ideal. Berserkers pushing up. There's a bit of a gap forming, which is not good. It looks like I didn't click on one of my marauders. But at this point we are pushing in. I'm going to throw the chariot into the fight, try to shut down these marauders with great weapons, at least for a little bit. And Wulfrik is unfortunately getting tied down, so I'm going to try to push Wulfrik around the flank here, force pathing him. And I'm trying to deal with these skin wolves. As you can see, they're leveled up, so they're dishing out a lot of hurt. But I will pop the Sea Fang over there, and as you can see, the skirmishers do immense amounts of damage, which is absolutely very, very painful. Unfortunately, I'm not entirely sure why the Sea Fang cut straight through my own lines, considering that wasn't, as far as I could tell, the line of attack. But as you can see, the skin wolves fall apart very quickly against berserkers, especially. They have very low HP. Sorry, not very low HP. They have very little armor, so they simply don't stand much of a chance there. And I'm gonna commit my own skin wolves to the fight. Unfortunately, my chariots are getting bogged down because I wasn't paying good enough attention to them. So I'm gonna try to force path them clear. Actually, going back might be ideal here. As you can see, my units are very quickly falling. They simply don't have the morale for this. With the penalties from the high difficulties, the chariots are fleeing. I don't think there's... I don't know why my chariots didn't retreat. Now they're shattered, I think, or broken at the very least. Wouldn't surprise me if they were shattered. Gonna push the marauders back into the fray. Definitely wasting a bit of time here. I'm not entirely sure where my skin wolves went. There we go. I'm gonna try to get after the enemy marauders. The berserkers definitely dishing out a lot of hurt though. Definitely not unhappy. They do a lot of damage when they can stand up fight. I don't think it's gonna be anywhere near as successful in multiplayer, where your opponent is simply just gonna focus them down and destroy them. But against AI, which is terrible at those sorts of things, they're definitely doing a bit of work. Skin wolves over here doing quite well for themselves. I'm not entirely sure why they're getting bogged down fighting infantry instead of chasing after the skirmishers, like I told them to. But Unfortunately, my units are getting, this is becoming a bit of a clustered fight here. Javelineers need to get clear. I don't know, Wulfrik's tied down fighting spears rather than dealing with their lord. It's not good. My chariots actually did recover. So I'm going to try to send them after the spears. Unfortunately, the Skinwolves are definitely suffering. I'm going to try to pull the Skinwolves back. Get them clear. If they don't, well, they're going to break. So, unfortunate. I'm going to cast the Sea Fang over there. Hopefully my opponent's infantry will... Yep, there we go. It looks like... it was a bit of an inaccurate cast, I think, but decent enough for what I needed. And as you can see, it's taking units actually a decent amount of time to break through my opponent. Finally, though, with his lord dead, I should have the edge in leadership. Make sure the chariot doesn't get bogged down in spears, because that will be fatal. And I might lose it just yet. Definitely doing my best to get it clear. Gonna send it after those. As you can see, I finally managed to clear out all the skirmishers. Wulfrik is here in the fight. Yeah, they're a very squishy army. They're reminding me quite a bit of goblins in some ways, Skarsnik's goblins, which is not necessarily a bad thing, not necessarily a great thing either. As you can see, that it's taking because of the hard difficulty, it's taking a very long time to break these guys, even the pitiful low-end units. And of course, my units are just falling apart if they get flanked or anything goes wrong, really. I do have Sea Fang, but at this point, there's very little for me to cast it at. I can try to cast it over here. I do like how it comes out from the. Strangely enough, it seems to go in odd directions. Like that was not where I casted it towards. It was supposed to be going. It might move depending on where Wulfrik moves. So I guess Wulfrik probably has to stand still. That's okay. Lessons learned. So, bit of a brutal matchup. I think I lost some Berserkers for good. With the reduced leadership, of course, and higher difficulties, it's hard to keep your units on the field when they're like very squishy and very soft and very liable to take damage. Wulfrik are dishing out the hurt. The Skinwolves are very, very prone to getting destroyed. As you can see, my opponent's Skinwolves, or the AI Skinwolves, just charged in. They got completely annihilated by the mass Marauders, and that wasn't even with too much missile fire, honestly. And then the Marauders or the Skinwolves on my end also took massive amounts of damage and did relatively little. I'm just gonna sacrifice here. I think at this point, I just want to make money. I'll be confederating.
My warhounds have not eaten in days.
I love how this guy's threatening when he's about to get confederated. Guess I'll get a new lord for this army. But I don't really want this army because it's atrocious, and I just destroyed the Skinwolves in it, so I'm just gonna scrap this army. There's a chariot here, but it's fine. I'm gonna scrap these armies. Kick these guys. Kick this guy. I'm not entirely sure why there's still a penalty to my income. There really shouldn't be at this point. I definitely don't want... As you can see, they added some really, really silly things with... This can actually be shipped out to... Sparring fields can be shipped out to there. So yeah, that gives me a massive swath of new territory to control, so we're just going to build up new things there. This army needs some building up as well. The fortifications for Chaos are not terrible. They definitely give you decent units, like the ones in the generic settlements, but the ones in the big settlements, like let me click on Ice Drake Fjord here. At maxed out, it gives you 1 unit of Fimir Warriors, and other than that, it's basically all Marauder units, and that's just really disappointing. That makes it a practically useless fortification upgrade, in my opinion. One of, if not the most useless in the game. Bretonia's settlement fortifications are probably the only, or the small settlement fortifications are probably the only comparably bad structure I can think of. It's going to be building a ruinous altar here, just trying to counteract the anger or the unhappiness. Gonna try to build one up north as well once I get the Grayling Moot cleared out, and for that I'm gonna have to clear out this area. I'm simply gonna destroy all these buildings because it's not as well developed up here as I'd like. And so instead of trying to build it up further, I'm just gonna build up down south. So yeah, Longship Graveyard, building up more income. The income buildings are weak. I'm probably gonna have to start raiding southward in a little bit. At this point, there's very few enemies left. There's only Varg, Acelings, and Throg's Wintertooth. As you can see, though, Varg has lost. Interesting enough, I don't know if Varg. I guess Varg starts with two provinces. That's actually interesting. So, or maybe they confederated one of these. And yeah, from there I'll be able to strike out. Coastal settlements are obviously something I can occupy, so I'll definitely be trying to get control of those. Yeah, so I think I've already built everything I want to build, or destroy everything I want to destroy. I'm gonna end the turn here, and then load up the last one. So definitely a pretty fun campaign so far. I'm definitely enjoying the whole Confederation mechanic. These penalty effects, though, are somewhat frustrating. That's why I'm leaving on no meat, upkeep plus 20%. And this seems to be a very common. These guys seem to get a lot of issues with this sort of stuff. It's sort of like if Bretonnians with the orc incursions or greenskin incursion, except worse because it's happening constantly, and you don't have really powerful local commands to counteract it. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed this video. I will obviously be continuing this campaign further on. Do watch out for my tutorial on Wood Elves and Norskins. I will probably be running through a separate campaign with Throg just to get a decent idea of how Norskins play all the way through the end game, so I can do a very light intro tutorial for Wood Elves and Norskins. And I will obviously be posting up Wulfrik's Campaign as I go through. I do hope you enjoyed. I appreciate you all for watching. If you did, leave a like and subscribe down below. Any comments, any criticism, any questions you might have about Norsca, any ideas, any sort of thing like that, do feel free to share those down in the comments. I'll be sure to respond as soon as I can. Thank you all, and wyvern out.